So we're talking about Andy Johns, great engineer producer. Hey everybody, it's Greg Bissonette here, and I would like to talk about a very good friend of mine, a legendary recording engineer and producer, Andy Johns. He recorded John Bonham a lot, and he recorded the drum track for When the Levee Breaks. I was super honored. He recorded me on Joe Satriani's album, The Extremist. My brother Matt on bass and Joe Satriani on guitar. The song Friends is one of my favorites. Andy did the whole album, engineered and produced. Joe Satriani had such great songs. But let's jump back for a second to When the Levee Breaks. It was recorded in 1971 at a place called Headley Grange, Headley, Hampshire, England. And Andy would tell me the story about recording John Bonham's drums there. I was in a rehearsal, a pre-production rehearsal. We're sitting there, my brother Matt's there playing bass, Joe Satriani's there playing guitar, and Joe had a demo of pretty much all the songs, and it came to the song Friends. Andy said, well, what would you do differently, Greg, than the drum machine on the demo? And I said, instead of like, toon, dot, or whatever the demo was, I said, I kind of like the and Andy and Joe and Matt all said, that sounds great. Why don't we use that? So that became the drum beat. And in fact, this song starts with the drums. Well, so does When the Levee Breaks. Boom, baba, boom, boom, baba. Andy looked at me. He towered over my drums. Very big, tall guy, but like a puppy dog. You know, he says, what kind of drum sound would you like to get on this album, mate? And I looked up, how about any of those great drum sounds you got with John Bonham? And he said, we can do that. And man, we went into what was called Ocean Way Recording Studios. Now it's called East West on Sunset, into the big room. And Myron Grombacher, my dear friend and great drummer, he loaned me his camo oversized Ludwig drums. The great Myron Grombacher, one of my best pals, one of my drum heroes. We've played double drums together so many times, and the great Pat Benatar albums and tons of albums. What a pal. We spent a couple of weeks at Ocean Way, and Andy not only mic'd the drums top and bottom, he took the bass drum. He said, let's not have any hole in the front bass drum head. Lots of times you have a hole in your bass drum head and you put a mic in. He said, we're gonna just have two heads on the bass drum with a little bit of foam on the inside, just on the bottom, laying on the bottom inside the bass drum. He cut a cable and suspended a 421, like this Sennheiser 421. He suspended it inside the bass drum, and then he soldered it together out there. He had all the drums, top and bottom mic'd, all kinds of room mics too. This big, huge room. He was miking way up in the ceilings and way in the back of me and all over. Plus, Andy ran mics of my drums through a big rented PA system in that room with big speakers. And so he was able to get the drums through those speakers and record the room that way also. It was phenomenal. I remember him telling me about recording John Bonham on When the Levee Breaks, and he used two Beyerdynamic M160s. Now, wouldn't you know it, Frank Rosato here at Woodcliff Studios in Los Angeles says, oh, for your YouTube channel, I'll grab my Beyer M160s. So these are the same mics, right? Using two Beyerdynamic M160 microphones, which were hung up a flight of stairs. The output from these were passed to a pair of Helios F760 compressor limiters, set aggressively to obtain a breathing effect. Then a Binson Echorec, which is a delay effects unit, was also used. So that was Andy's magic, along with John Bonham's magic. Wow, what a sound. That combination of John Bonham's amazing drumming and feel, and the way he hit the drums, the way he tuned the drums, and what a great idea, going to this big, huge building, putting him in the lobby where there's like 3 flights of stairs. Pretty darn cool. So Jason Bonham is a great friend of mine, and he's got that Bonham sound. When he plays my drums, he sounds like Jason Bonham. He's got his dad's feel, and capturing sounds, recording people is super important, and the room and the ambience and everything. But Jason, man, the sound is in his playing. Years ago, we were doing a double drum gig we played with Paul Rogers, and Jason's played with Paul a lot over the years. And we were doing the great Free song, All Right Now, one of my favorite songs ever. And Jason said, what if I go ba-da, and you go ba-da, and I go ba-da, and you go boom, and we go blop. Ba-da, ba-doom, ba-da, boom, ba-da. All right now. And Paul Rogers went, I like that. I'm not sure if John went doom, dot, doom, doom, dot, or if there was a boom, boom, dot, dot. But whenever anybody says in a band, hey, let's play When the Levee Breaks, I kind of add those notes organically. So instead of boom, bop, boom, boom, bop, I'll go do, and try to get that feel. Even if you hear it through your iPad or your laptop or your phone, you're gonna go, wow, that drum sound, John Bonham's drumming, and that Andy Johns engineered drum sound is amazing. This is the beat that I played for the beginning and for the Song of Friends. So wow, what a blast it was recording the Joe Satriani album, The Extremist. Every song has that same great Andy Johns drum sound. I would just like to read some of the other things he's either produced or engineered, some of the other artists. Humble Pie, 1969. Gary Wright, Free, Van Halen. Also Joe Satriani, Time Machine, that my brother and I got to do. Steve Miller, Eric Johnson, LA Guns, Jethro Tull, Spooky Tooth, Jack Bruce, Blind Faith, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, Eric Clapton, the Rolling Stones. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. So Andy Johns, amazing. Please, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm gonna play you out with a little bit of Joe Satriani Friends.